Hello, it's Rich Rosen, founder and CEO of Fastcall, and I'm going to talk for a few minutes about how to use Fastcall and some of our user settings. So the first thing I'll say is that we're not going to be able to cover everything in this video. We do have many features that we have specific pages and videos that go into more detail, but I'll just try to cover the basics for the end user in this video, maybe 5-6 minutes. And then I can point you to other areas where we have more specific information. So to start, we're looking at Classic. Why not? This is our version 4.62. It's November 2017, recently back from Dreamforce. Hoot hoot. Our application is updated every few weeks, and we will note those releases in our email and in our release notes. So anyway, let's get started. So I'm here, I'm on a lead page. I could be on any Salesforce object with the phone number. Um, I could be in Classic, I could be in Lightning, I could be in Console, um, as long as there's a phone number on the page. So here we are, the default screen inside the application. So I'm actually looking at our call internal dialer. Um, so this is the default screen for phones. So I see your phones here. There's two other options that you may or may not see. And our application can certainly be customized by the Salesforce admin. So you may have SMS enabled, which is what I have here. This is our internal dialer. The SMS and the internal dialers are added features, add-ons. The phone is our base application. So inside of the phone, we see our recent calls. Inbound has the red arrow. Missed, inbound answered green. That's a voicemail. Outbound, I'm not doing a great job. Not many outbound calls by me. Well, so let's make one. So here we are. I will dial the phone. The application starting. It's going to go to connecting. Phone rings and the phone's answered, and you'll see that the you know, going to end that. You'll see the call automatically goes to connected. So inside the application, and then once the call's finished, I hung up the far side, the call will go to finished. But in this state, I have my subject, which does have a default, but I can put anything else I want in here. I could say subject, and you can see as much time as I need. Notes, but the call's ended. And then I'm going to close the task. And then here's my call results. And again, it's a couple of different ways to set this up, but in this particular setup, I'm requiring call results. So I'm going to say we left a message, and the application is going to go back to the default screen, which is our recent calls, and there is the recent call with a green arrow that shows outbound. I can click on this, and I'm going to see a link back to the record that I just called, which in the case of outbound is usually almost always there because I called the record, so that's who I called. The phone number that I dialed, the number that I use is caller ID, which I'll show you in a second. If I did want to call again from recent calls, I could click here. If I wanted to send a quick SMS, I could do that here. If I wanted to go to the task, I can do that here. If I just want to delete this, you got the point. If for any reason I wanted to change the record that I had to look up to, I could do that here. And we're going to go and we're going to search for the phone number. And in this case, I did find another record with the phone number, which would be here, so I could attach the call to another record. Or I could create a new lead if I wanted to. And in that particular case, I called from a record, but I could do that. So just to sort of go back into here, our settings are in here. And if I reveal the settings, you're going to see the phone that you use to dial. And in this case, I'm on the soft phone, and I can click that, and I'm going to see the different phones that I can use to dial. So the soft phone is probably the most common choice, requires a high quality wired headset, a high quality wired internet connection, but that's all you need. So you plug into your laptop or your PC, your Mac, and you are self-contained. An office phone is hardware, your traditional hard phone. You can use a mobile phone and click to call, does work. We don't love a mobile phone for making 50 calls a day, but it's certainly fine if you need to make a couple of calls. There's a feature here that will log your calls and not dial. That's the call logger. In my particular case, I have a IP phone, and then I have a couple of extra phones that I have here. So if you were in a conference room and you needed some extra phones here, you could add those. So those are your phones, which we say are calling devices that you're actually talking on. And once you set it in the application will remember. And this is your caller ID. In this case, I have many. You may have one or two or four, as many as you need. And the caller IDs come in two forms. The phone number that you own, like your mobile phone or your existing office phone, a phone that you own that's not provisioned in our application, you verify that. And I'll show you in a second how that's done. And that's a verified caller ID. The other option is a phone that will also receive inbound calls that's provisioned in our application, and that's a provisioned phone, and both can be used as caller ID. You do not need to verify a provisioned phone, but there you set the caller ID. And that can change. If you're outside the US, you may need a country code. You've got some control settings for call recording. So that's inside the widget itself. There's a couple of advanced features here. For the soft phone, we've given you some options to fiddle around with some of the more advanced settings there. And then this is going to take us back to our settings in the application. So I mentioned before, we're going to pick up your two phones from your Salesforce user record. This is your Salesforce user record. There's an office phone and mobile phone. Not everyone always fills in the phone numbers, but if you do have phone numbers on your office phone, mobile phone, we're going to pick that up in the application, and you will see those as calling devices. And then you could add others. So if you remember, if I showed you, that's my IP phone, the soft phone we show you because it's enabled. It is possible if your org is not using the soft phone, you wouldn't see it, but that's up to your admin. And then there's some other phones that I've added under my user settings here. And so those are considered devices. When you're using our application for inbound, and we do have a specific page to talk about inbound, those settings are here. So these are your user settings in the application under My Settings. And if you are not an admin, you're only going to see your user settings. Your admins are going to see admin settings, but this is a subject for another video. But as a user, you're going to see your user settings, which are some of the same things that I showed you in the widget. Your status, are you available? Do you have an extension for inbound routing? Do you need a country code? Are you any groups, which are used a couple of different ways, but there we'll show you your group membership there. For inbound, your SMS settings, your recorded name, which is used for the IVR, the directory. For directory of users, press 1. I entered the extension 100, and this could read the name. So it's there you go. Call recording, inbound and outbound. You have some control. Again, your admin may not may disable some of this, but here it is, and then your voicemail. So those are your user settings, your devices, the inbound routing we talked about for a minute, provisioned phone numbers. These are actually your phone numbers that are both provisioned for routing inbound calls and also your verified phone numbers. You'll see here this says both, and I can actually filter. So these are verified numbers. These are phone numbers that are not provisioned in the application, but I can use them as caller ID. And then these are all the numbers that I have provisioned for either my user or a group where I'm a member. Not that tough. Messages are my recorded messages, used both for inbound voicemail and my outbound voicemail drop, and then SMS is here as well. We have some templates, SMS templates, which are pretty cool. So speaking of which, let me pop back over. I made a quick call before, but let's do another. So I'm going to dial again. And last time all we did was log the call, but you'll see there's an option here for a voicemail drop, which is totally cool. It's right here. These are pre-recorded messages that I can, matter of fact, I'll just do that. So there's the voicemail drop, totally cool. It releases me from the call. The recorded message is left on the far side, answer machine or voicemail, and then I'm free to go off and make another call. And you saw that here. There is, and just so we can see it, I'll do one more. In the application, there's the keypad if you need it. So if you call into a menu and you need to press 2, it's a mute button. But we also have a sidebar here that gets revealed. Hello, hello, hello. And in Lightning, this would be revealed by default because the UI in Lightning is wider, but in Classic, we're sort of stuck here in the sidebar. So there's a reveal here. Any task pick list that you have in your org could be listed here. Actually, a lot of the add-ons that you may have would be listed here in that sidebar. That's our default. And then here we have a couple of other options. The drop voicemail I showed you, there's actually two ways to get there so that you could drop the voicemail here or up here. Um, this is the ability to transfer a call, to conference a call. If it was so enabled, and it's not because I think I'm on a lead, I could log the call to a case or an opportunity, but neither of those are available for leads, so they're grayed out. But if I was calling a contact, I would see these options. So any of those advanced options are here on the sidebar. There you go. Hello, hello, hello. There's also some notifications up here. So it just tells me the number I dialed, the device that I'm on, the caller ID. In this case, I have three-way calling enabled because that's what we use when we are transferring a call. And I also have call recording on, so you can see all those under notifications. So that's it. I'm going to end the call here. Again, you can see I'm going to close the task. I'm going to pick my call result, and we're done. Okay, so that's it. So it took me a little more than I thought, and a little over 10 minutes. Sorry for going on for so long, but very easy to use, very easy to set up. Again, your particular settings may look a little bit different depending upon how your admin set up the application, but you should be able to use the application in exactly 12 minutes, 11 and a half of which we're watching this video. Awesome. If you do have any questions, shoot us an email, support@fastcall.com, and we hope you enjoy the application.